How goes it, ladies and gentlemen? Thanks for checking out Shinsen88 Gaming. Today, we're going to be checking out a pretty short and pretty simple little game that nevertheless is relatively pleasant. That game is, of course, Clawfish. This was released in 2021 by David Sarnowski. It's available on Steam and itch.io for about $3 American, $2.99 in fact. And as you can see from the video length, it is a relatively short game. However, keep the price in mind there. We're going to be technically doing a 100% run, not that there's all that much to do, but we'll be checking out everything that is available in the game and doing all the things that you would need to do in order to get 100% achievements. So as we jump into the game, I think the first thing you're going to notice is the aesthetic, and that is probably my favorite part of the game. It just is a really nice aesthetic. In fact, what it reminds me of is like a Hiroshi Nagai painting, who is the dude that did a lot of the album arts for a bunch of city pop albums. That's probably what you would best know him for, but just look up Hiroshi Nagai, and I think that this definitely looks like one of those, which I am a big fan of. It just has a very pleasant feeling to it. You might call it comfy, although comfy is sort of a loaded term as it applies to media, and that a lot of times that means thing that is of relatively low quality, but I like. I think there's a little bit more to it than that, though. So, I mean, there is in fact a talking seagull, right? So that's got to count for at least a few points. So what is Clawfish exactly? Well, as I stated, it's a fairly laid-back and simple game. You are basically dropped down into this little environment, which we'll be checking out all of, and your goal is to release all the fish from these claw games. It is that simple. We can buy tokens, however, you can get unlimited tokens. It's just that you can only carry a certain amount at one time. Let's go ahead and check out the first game. They all have a little bit different mechanics, but are pretty similar. So this is it. You move with WAS and D, and you drop the claw with space. The goal here is to gather all the fish, as I said. And as you drop them in, you will get a little blurb about the different types of fish, with some kind of Reddit-esque wording. Like, there's never like, he's a chonky boy, but I don't know, it's borderline a couple times. So, the actual quote-unquote gameplay, I mean, if we're not counting the exploration and the walking around kind of stuff, is basically just this. It's not all that compelling, and unfortunately the physics are not exactly perfect. Sometimes you'll find some minor annoyances where you're pretty sure you grabbed the fish, but it just slips out for some reason. Which I guess is kind of accurate for a crane game, but it's still a little bit annoying. I would say that actually the biggest disappointment here is that you see the pictures of the fish here, but when they're actually in the game, they all look exactly the same. I think it would have been a lot cooler if we had some, at least basic 3D models of each different kind of fish. That would have made it just a little bit more exciting. I mean, this is never going to be like the most exciting thing ever, right? But it would have been a little bit more exciting if you actually saw this creek perch, for example, swimming around. We got one more dude in here. There isn't any sort of AI or anything to these fish. They're really just on like a simple path, as far as I can tell. They don't like react to the claw going into the water or anything. Come on, dude. Please. Also, sometimes they decide to swim just out of your reach. No! Ugh, okay. Well, anyways, the fish that we freed are now released into the water. Can't believe I gotta get another set of coins just to capture this last fish. And piggybacking off of what I just said about I wish the fish were unique as they were swimming around here. I really wish that we could still see the fish swimming around now in the water of the level, because that would have been a really cool feature. Unfortunately, it's not here. A little bit of a shame. Obviously, that seems like a small thing, but I think that would have made the difference, is you're like freeing all the different fish and seeing them swim around. But, yeah, whatever. Maybe I want too much. Okay, last one. Alright, Speedy, get out of here. There's another minor annoyance in the fact that you can't quickly back out of the crane game. You have to wait for the animation to finish, which is a little bit annoying, especially if you're missing over and over. But again, it's not the end of the world. So you'll notice there is a little bit to explore here. Not a lot, but a little bit. And again, I can't emphasize enough. I was going to say, there's no way that I'm going to be able to read that. But I can't emphasize enough how much that I like the art style. It is fun to just sort of walk around here for a little bit, seeing all the sights. By the way, as you might have guessed, freeing all the fish from the buckets is one of the achievements. Are we going to leave the light on? Nah. That would be rude. Really sweet and not that great, but I like them. Many such cases. So another one of the achievements that I believe we've already gotten in this little run is skip a rock on the water. Did that earlier. We can also buy a drink. It does not at all matter which one you choose, but let's see what we got here. I used to actually drink these a lot, but haven't had one in a while. Tea, please, bold. Apparently I chose wisely because it's the main character's favorite tea drink. Alright, 3 more. Another thing that's kind of a weird choice is the fact that we have all these other crane games that are just, like, out of order. That's kind of weird. Anyways, let's row the boat over. I think that's also an achievement, like, row the boat around. Okay. Fortunately, they did put coin machines next to the other crane machines, because that would have been annoying having to go back and forth. Another minor annoyance. I know it sounds like I'm really, like, criticizing the heck out of this $3 game, but I'm just being honest with you. That sure is pleasant, though. Just kind of looking around. For such a simple art style, I'd say this has a pretty good sense of atmosphere. But another minor annoyance is you move really slowly when you're in the water. I guess that's meant to incentivize you using the boat, but I think we'll see that a little bit later. It starts. So yeah, like I mentioned, sometimes you really feel like you should have gotten the fish, but you don't. Not the end of the world, but ooh, it is annoying because you have to wait every single time for the claw to reset. And you see what I mean with that fish over on the left side there? The physics are not perfect. You know, one of these times, I'm actually going to get a fish. Well, anyways, while we do this, let's talk a little bit more about David Zarnowski and stuff that he has made. He has a few other games on itch.io. I have not played any of them. One of them is called Land of Snow, which is a local multiplayer only game, so probably won't be playing that one too much. But it's a ninja versus ninja 2D combat sort of game. This is something. Then there's Long Boy, in parentheses, Good Dog, which sounds like a Reddit game if there ever was one. That one can be played in browser, and it's about helping a small doggo fulfill its big dreams. Yep, this guy's definitely a Reddit user. My Little Trilobite, which is apparently a Nintendogs-inspired virtual pet game, which is kind of interesting. Chasing Birds, in which you play as a dog and chase birds around a little area. Apparently there's not really a goal, it's more of a free-form exploration game with kind of a similar aesthetic to this one. So I can appreciate that. And then the most interesting one is Nightmare Drive, which is a sort of overhead or isometric, I guess, top-down survival game, it says, where it's a driving game and you've got to outlast ghost drivers on a racetrack. And apparently, it's kind of a cool concept, actually. I don't know why I'm talking about this other game while we're in this one, but apparently as you race around the track, it'll create a ghost of you, kind of like in a time attack game, like Mario Kart or something. Except for the ghosts will actually become an obstacle. So that's actually kind of an interesting concept for a game. It looks like most of this guy's other games are download now, name your price. This is the only one that has a actual price tag on it. So it might be worth giving some of those other ones a look. I might try it. I think by this point in the video, and probably before, you will have figured out by now whether or not this game is for you. I think if you're in the mood for a little relaxing, for the most part relaxing, experience with pleasant art style, then you might like it. But if you're looking for something a little bit more feature-rich and maybe a little bit more compelling, probably not going to be for you. Honestly, I would have to say if the claw mechanics were a little bit more refined and the fish actually appeared in the tank and in the water, I would definitely recommend it as a short little, $3 experience. As it stands, it's, I have mixed feelings on it, even at that price. Nevertheless, we will soldier on and complete this one. Actually, the third claw game is the most difficult of the batch, so that bodes well for us, because we're doing so well thus far. I think that actually a discussion that is fairly relevant when it comes to this game is the application of the adjective comfy when it comes to media. I actually use that adjective sometimes to describe things, pieces of media. However, what I've found is that a lot of times comfy is an adjective that's used to describe something that is very light on sort of meaning or content, but which you still kind of like because it's relatively pleasant. And I guess that could apply here. I'm not going to get into a deep philosophical discussion, but yeah, this is definitely light on content. Really? Really? Ugh. See, that right there certainly undermines the relaxing aspect of this game. But hey, it's all right. It's all right. We're gonna do it. Okay, got him that time. But yeah, you could definitely call this a comfy game for the most part. Would I call it a great game? No. Is there even that much of a game here? Not necessarily. What I actually think would have been even better, or would be even better, because, I mean, the guy's still making stuff, I think it would have been kind of compelling to make more of an exploration game with this sort of art style. Because, again, although it's very simple, it is pretty pleasant just kind of roaming around in this world that, again, looks like a Hiroshi Nagai painting. So that's cool. But alas, that's not exactly what we got. We have one more little island, I guess you could call it, to check out. And we have a couple more, I think, fish to free from the buckets. Now, going back to the achievements that we talked about earlier, most of them are just catch fish, complete this claw game. But as you might imagine, and I already mentioned, releasing fish from the buckets is an achievement. Skipping a stone is an achievement. Stone skipped. Getting in the boat is an achievement. And I think sitting on a bench is even an achievement, and purchasing a drink is an achievement. So, like I said, consider this a 100% guide for clawfish. One thing I do kind of appreciate is the boat is rather unwieldy, which, I mean, seems about right if this is supposed to be a rowboat. You know, it shouldn't turn like a tank. So that's kind of cool, I guess. Maybe. Okay. We got one more bucket to find. Which is hopefully around here somewhere, otherwise I have missed one. Oh, there we go. Ta-da. Again, I hate to keep harping on this, but how cool would it be to look out and see all of the fish actually, like, modeled, swimming around in the water? Once again, though, alas. Okay, so this one, the claw will drop automatically as soon as you stop moving, which makes it the most complicated of the claw machines. You. Hopefully a little bit of my frustration is coming through here. Again, that certainly reduces the comfiness aspect. Mm-hmm. Okay, good to go. Yeah, I wouldn't want to swim near that thing either. Is that a barracuda? Is that the Japanese name for a barracuda? Very few, no, I guess it's a... No, it is a barracuda, okay. Apparently, so, I mean, there's not all that much more to talk about in relation to this game, right? There have not been that many barracuda attacks. However, when you do get attacked by one, their teeth are no joke, and it's usually a pretty serious injury. Keep in mind, this thing is meant to just, like, swim forward and cut things in half, almost. So that's, kind of scary. That's not going to work, is it? Oh, you. All right. Well, I think that is more or less all there is to say about clawfish. The last achievement involves obviously freeing all the fish, at which point the train will arrive and we can... oh, look, we found Nemo. And then you can get back on the train and complete the game, or continue sort of wandering around for a little bit. Definitely going to be a not for everyone sort of situation. In fact, as you can probably tell, I'm not even really sure that it's for me. But I don't, you know, regret spending $3 on it and playing it for a little bit. I just think we could have elevated this to a more easy an easier recommendation with a few of those changes that I suggested. What a dopey face. Alright, we're on a roll now. Almost there. By the way, actually, as I was looking into this game, there was a message from the creator on the Steam page, our Steam Community Hub, like back in August of 2022, where he said that he's actually going to be updating the game. So maybe actually some of these changes will be coming. I'm looking at his message now, and it says, ton of fixes, progress saving, 2 new machines, and overall more depth in the catching gameplay. So it looks like, actually, I retract my prior criticism about there being empty claw machines. Those are actually planned for the future. Now, if you could add the thing about the fish that I mentioned, that would be pretty choice. The guy's obviously a single person developing the game, who I'm sure is not doing that. Well, I'm sure is not making a living off of this game, so understandable that it would take a while. But it's nice to see that, you know, it is something that the creator takes pride in and wants to be better, so there's that. I would say keep an eye on it, and maybe this game will be even more worth your while. Again, take all of my criticisms with a grain of salt, because it is $3, right? That, with our current inflationary cycle, is barely even the price of a fountain drink from a restaurant, right? Or maybe less than the price of a fountain drink. So, go out to lunch and get a water one day, and you can afford this one. Hopefully. Oh, come on. We are so close. But anyways, if for some reason the creator happens to see this video, which seems incredibly unlikely, my suggestion would be to take this art style and create a larger sort of exploration-based game. Maybe even keep this as the base of the game, but add some additional, you know, mechanics or something. Because I think there really is something here with this art style. Oh, I gotcha. It's a good thing we don't have a limited number of coins or limited funds with which to purchase those coins, because I might have failed this one. Alright. As you can hear, the train is arriving. Okay. So let's hop back on our boat that appears to be sinking. We'll just ignore that. And we will finish up our little romp through the world of Clawfish. Not too much else to say about it. I mean, I barely even had enough to say about it to fill this video. But I think that if you've taken a look at this and it looks like you might be interested in it, then you probably will be. If you took a look at this and you were thinking, what in the world is the point? Probably not going to be for you. And that's about all I can say about it. A relatively pleasant, quote-unquote, comfy game, perhaps. Fairly light on content, but also fairly light on cost. See, look at that. Train station map. We could be going to different train stations and maybe even doing different things at each one. Make it happen. David? Mr. Zarnowski? Can I call you David? Either way, make it happen. I think you definitely got something in terms of art design. Do you have any other words of wisdom before we leave? Oh, 0 left. Yeah, I was way ahead of you. well, I guess we can climb back on the train. And we can finish up. See, again, that's a really cool effect, but imagine if those were all the fish that we freed actually modeled. That would be awesome. Oh, anyways, so we beat on. Boats against the current, borne back ceaselessly into the past. That's the final line from one of my favorite books. You might know it. If not, Google it, then read it. You probably already read it. I might visit sometime again soon. We might do a short follow-up video, assuming this does get that update eventually. So that was Clawfish. I hope you enjoyed this little video. We did pretty much check out everything that there is to do in the game, but if it looked at all compelling to you, I would say it would be worth looking at. Here are the credits. Thank you, Robert Kilpatrick, for making a nice little track for the background. I'll see y'all next time. Until then, take care, and God bless.